Bitcoin just smashed $38,000. This is looking really good. BlackRock may be front running their own Bitcoin ETF. As Franklin Templeton's ETF has got delayed, we will jump into that. Standard Charter predicting $100,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year, as the ETF is very close to approval. Rate cuts may be coming. Check this out. There is green. Bitcoin is looking absolutely strong. We'll dive into that a little bit later. 38,165. So, Bitcoin news. US, 100 trillion USD and Marty partners speculate ETF like BlackRock may be front-loading Bitcoin through miners instead of exchange to avoid impacting price significantly. This could explain the current hash rate surge while keeping exchange prices stable. Obviously, the hash rate has gone through the roof lately. The sharp rise in hash rate since October 1st aligns with the SEC ETF soft approval date, which marked onboarding into the SEC system starting seed basket verification and fees. Based on a historical hash rate to USD ratio, Bitcoin might ideally be at $55,000 to $58,000 now. Just in, 800 billion. Standard Chartered Bank says spot Bitcoin ETF approvals are likely to come sooner than expected. So let's dive into this. Bitcoin remains on track for 100K by year-end 2024. Standard Charter. An earlier than expected spot Bitcoin ETF in the US could be the key catalyst, says the bank. Standard Charter reiterating its April forecast. So all the way back in April, they did put this out. Forecast that Bitcoin would reach 100,000 by 2024. Put simply, everything is working as expected, said the bank in its reiteration today. Bitcoin's dominance remains intact. Its share of overall digital asset market cap has increased to 50% from 45% in April. Looking at the numbers this morning, block height 818,893, woke up to 818,888 USD, 38,262 sats per dollar. This sucks, hey? It's going down absolutely rapidly, only 2,613. Question for everyone, did you manage to get to 1 Bitcoin? Have you been buying the dips? Have you been stacking hard? Have you been studying Bitcoin? Because it is about to go on an absolute tear. Are we going to get a correction? Probably. It happens all the time. The red days are not to be shaken out. They're to be able to increase your bag size and enjoy the ride, ladies and gentlemen. We are looking April 23, 2024 for the next halving, and we've only got 21,107 blocks to go. It is TikTok next block, and I just want to show you something here. TikTok next block, FOMO 21. There is a link below for them, but I would like just to say a big thank you to Brian, Bitcoin Evangelism, for sponsoring today's video. If you haven't read it yet, pick it up. There is a link down below in the description. Morning to everyone in the chat. If you're lurking, say g'day. We've got so much to cover today. Bitcoin pushes above 37.7 thousand. Obviously, it's far exceed that 38,000 at the minute. This is on the back of the comments from Fed's Waller. The typically hawkish Fed governor said rate cuts could be on the agenda if inflation continues to decline. This guy's a perma bear, so when he speaks, people pay attention. This could be one of the reasons why we're pumping. I think more so people are starting to wake up to the fact that Bitcoin is going up forever, Laura. This was just a little bit of fun here. Orange Pill app, this is the social side. Brian DeMint, the author of Bitcoin Evangelism, is the marketing manager. I used this when I was over in the States, and you can see in the background here, I'll bring it up better for you, the USA flag. The reason I'm putting this flag up at the moment, and Bitcoin's flag is on its way, so I will change it. No offense to anyone that doesn't like the American flag. The reason I've got it there, it's one of the most beautiful countries in the whole world. My wife and I absolutely love it. An incredible country, incredible people. Put the politics aside. The place is amazing, absolutely amazing. So lucky, so blessed. Anyone living there, go out and explore it, especially Sequoia National Park. And Crater Lake is amazing. I'll throw up some videos very shortly. Anyway, in regards to the Orange Pill app, wanted to say, loving OPA, wanted a way to reach out to locals for a long time now, able to start a small group and see if we can plant some orange seeds in our local economy. Keep it coming. Thanks to anyone working on the project. Stack friends who stack sats. Justin, $820 billion Standard Chartered Bank predicts Bitcoin will reach 100K by year end 2024. This is why we stack Bitcoin. Bitcoin and Argentine pesos is more than double from 2021 all-time high. This is happening everywhere around the world. It's not just Argentina. This is everywhere around the world. Inflation may be slower in first world countries, but it's happening slowly, then suddenly. And the SEC, love him, hate him. I don't know if anyone loves the SEC. Let us know. Let us know if you love the SEC and why. I'd really like your thesis on that. I have no time for him. Love taking the piss. Anyway, SEC delays 1.5 trillion asset manager Franklin Templeton's spot Bitcoin ETF application. I'll repost it at Sean Clark 911. But basically here, the last part is on November 15, 2023, pursuant section blah, 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 the commission designated a longer period within which to approve the proposed rule change, disapprove the proposed rule change, or institute proceedings to determine whether to disapprove the proposed rule change. This order institutes proceedings under section blah, blah, blah to determine whether to approve or disapprove the proposed rule change. So we'll see what happens. It looks very likely, I'm still going January 10, but it looks very likely we're going to get, sooner or later, we get a Bitcoin ETF. When that happens, it's too late. There may be a little bit of buy the rumor, sell the news. Maybe there's a dip there. Either way, TikTok next block, ladies and gentlemen. We are running out of time rapidly with all of this. Daniel Baden, somebody to follow on Twitter. Absolutely. Good morning to everyone in the chat. If you've got any questions, drop them below. Huge big favor. If you can smash the like button, that would be absolutely amazing. Get this message out because Bitcoin's cheap. Now, it's not going to stay this cheap. The more you can smash the like button and humble the like button is what we say here on the channel these days. Now, we used to say humiliate, not as nice. Humble the like button. Greatly appreciate. Get the message out. Daniel Baden, this is significant. The independent and liberal-leaning UK's major news source with a monthly reach of 19 million people just ran the Cornell University study whose findings suggest Bitcoin mining could supercharge transition to renewables. Paper's author, highly respected in the field. This represents a shift for the independent who previously ran negative ESG press about Bitcoin. I was talking to somebody yesterday. You'll see that video. Some of you is going to like it. Some of you are not going to like it. It was a high-level Bitcoin-only podcast that we'll be dropping. Is absolutely fascinating. We focused 100% on Bitcoin, dived very much into the ESG, what's coming out with the WEF there. So subscribe for that. But the ESG narrative is shifting big time. And I wonder if this leads Elon Musk to start accepting Bitcoin again, slowly then suddenly. Anyway, joining Bloomberg and Financial Times as publications who have published pro-Bitcoin ESG articles for the first time in 2023. All of this came out after the BlackRock ETF came out. Funny how the narrative shifts so quickly. Anyway, the article contains the acknowledgement the plummeting costs of renewable energy mean Bitcoin miners increasingly turn to solar, wind and hydro sources to power their operations. And the quote, the beauty of the protocol is that the incentive structure will force miners to adopt the cheapest form of electricity. While this isn't saying anything that those who study Bitcoin mining don't already know, what is significant is that accurate reporting about Bitcoin mining is for the first time starting to consistently occur in an increasing number of mainstream news sources this year. Talking about mainstream, Fidelity Digital Assets put out a paper, November 23, revisiting persistent Bitcoin criticisms. They put in about 10 in there, number 9, and we'll jump into a couple of them. They've got the criticism, they've got the response. I'll try find the link again for you and put that there. This is great reading, but I will go through a little bit of it, but we'll just get through the news with the fast facts first. Anyway, this is huge. This is absolutely massive, independent. The narrative is shifting. Everyone is turning pro Bitcoin, Bitcoin mining. And yesterday we covered this. Justin, the mystery whale keeps up its daily buying streak, acquiring 539 Bitcoin. They were buying about 1,000 a day following the accumulation of 1,178 yesterday. Over the past 28, they have amassed a total of 10.3 thousand Bitcoin, propelling them to number 73 on the Bitcoin rich list. If these people are stacking, are you stacking? Academia is getting bullish on Bitcoin. Dennis Porter is absolutely amazing with the Satoshi Action Fund. I definitely just butchered that. I'm so sorry. I'll fact check myself. Anyway, with Dennis Porter, I have Dennis coming on Friday. So if you've got any questions for this gentleman, very high level, massive advocate, especially over in the States. Dennis is doing amazing things for Bitcoin, especially over in America. So if you've got any questions for this gentleman, drop them in the comments, not in the live chat. Cornell Chronicle, Bitcoin could support renewable energy development with peer review. And I know a lot of people are against academia. My wife works in academia and she's totally against academia in the usual sense, but she knows she had to go through and get a PhD, become a doctor to be able to sit at the table, to be able to talk at a high level and create change from the inside, like a Trojan horse almost in a way. And that's paraphrasing a little bit, but such a huge advocate in the space that she works, one of the top 10 experts in the world, the expert in Australia to be able to do that. But sometimes you need to get inside the system to be able to destroy or change the system. That's the language they speak, and the narrative is shifting. And when you're getting peer-reviewed articles coming out, absolutely massive for the space. There is absolutely a huge amount of legends in the chat. I will jump in there very shortly. We'll get through this shortly. Bank of America, this is funny. I stood out the front of Bank of America and took the piss for the Bitcoin documentary. Hopefully my sister has finished editing that and we'll get that out to you shortly. But 64 US bank branches filed to shut down in a single week. Are you affected? We are going cashless very, very quickly. And this is going to affect retirees the most. For us, we're on a Bitcoin standard. Who cares? There are workarounds as well. Wallet of Satoshi. For example, you can change where your phone is located, use a VPN, change where the Apple Store is located, download Wallet of Satoshi, or use another Lightning app to be able to use Bitcoin as cash. Obviously, store everything else on the base chain. Put it on steel. This is $11. Seador's the Rolls Royce. Link in the description. Anyway, and we're off again. Total US debt rises. Hectic. If you don't believe in Bitcoin, this should convince anyone. And we're off again. Total US debt rises $61 billion overnight. Only $61 billion. Thought it would have been a little bit more. No, I'm taking piss. Isn't that incredible? That number, $61 billion overnight. Anyway, it hits a record $33.827 trillion on Friday. Only $173 billion away from $34 trillion. And we only hit $33 trillion just 2 months ago. Hectic, absolutely hectic. $1.5 trillion. We've been looking for this number for a while. We have hit it today. It's a great day. Yes, there's euphoria when it's green. I actually prefer the red days. Red days are for buying, but 38,000, we've been trying to push above it for so long. I think we got rejected 3 times. If we can hold above there, 40, 42, 44,000 off to the races. A standard charter is spot on. And then 100,000 by end of year. don't bet the farm on 100K end of year. I'm not giving out any price predictions, but if we do get a Santa Claus rally, and it very much looks like we're going to get another pause, not a rate cut, but we get a pause. If we get a Santa Claus rally, sometimes it can absolutely rip faces off. So be prepared, act now, act responsibly. If we have a look at the chart in the last 24 hours, what a huge jump, eh? A low 36,819, a high 38,246. Last 7 days, 35,965. And obviously the 7-day high is wrong there. But from 35,000, 36,000 to over 38,000 in a week, we're looking good. If we zoom out, see, we tried to get above there, or we just touched it, came back down. So we do need a hold there. Interesting, last 14 days, we've been trying, and let's see if we can stay there. If we look on a long enough time frame, it's up and to the right. Look at that chart, 90 days, 180. Don't we miss these days? And didn't it feel so expensive? Everyone was waiting for a pullback. Yeah, maybe it doesn't happen. Now, Senator Alex Antic is an Australian senator who is very aware, very awake, speaks very, very clearly. He's a Bitcoiner, even if he doesn't know it. I always try to tag him. I'd like to see him at Bitcoin Alive 2024. But he exposes the totalitarian aspirations of Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum and the Great Reset agenda in the Australian Parliament. This guy, let us know if there's anything bad about him. I think he's an incredible man. The WEF has stepped into it. I won't even read that. I'll just play what he has to say. We don't need to listen to all of it, but it's an absolutely fascinating, fantastic video. And get ready for it. If you've got any questions, comments. Before we do that, one more favor and ask you one more time. Please smash the like button and hit subscribe if we vibe. Let's get on with the show.
Founded in 1971 by Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum is steeped in authoritarianism and Marxist ideology. It's an ideology which is creeping into governments across the world. To quote Schwab himself when speaking about the Canadian Parliament,
"We penetrate the cabinets." So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more, half of this cabinet, are for our actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. I'm with the president, with a young.
It's true with Binance now. They've got the World Economic Forum leading Binance, and this is why I bring it up. This is why we need to be paying attention. They want us to eat the bugs. Truly, that's their agenda. We'll play a little bit more because it is very important, I think, and probably most people in the chat are aware of what's going on, but really strings everything together.
Global leader.
The World Economic Forum promotes globalist issues such as climate change, so-called systemic racism and sexism, and creating an online digital identity. However, closer inspection reveals the World Economic Forum is an anti-capitalist, anti-free market organisation that seeks to subvert Western values and political processes. And they are very organised and very well funded. Their message is designed to appear harmless when in fact the ideology that underpins it is revolutionary and destructive. They train aspirational leaders in their ideology and help them make connections in spheres including politics, business and the arts. The World Economic Forum has consistently advocated for the harshest and most extreme COVID measures possible, including lockdowns, mandatory vaccinations.
Just one thing on that, which is really starting to blow my mind, and I dove into it yesterday with this podcast that's coming out. But the World Economic Forum's really started to change their tune, their agenda in regards to the ESG narrative, and they're coming out pro-Bitcoin. We covered this yesterday, where they've, about a month ago, they talked positively about data centers being sustainable or like using natural resources, especially like flare gas, and they advertised a Bitcoin company without saying what the Bitcoin company was. And then last week they talked and said it was Crusoe Energy. So they're now becoming pro Bitcoin mining. The most evil organization, or one of the most evil organizations. It scares me. I don't know really what to think about it. I'd like to know what your comments are, your thoughts are in regards to it, because it's propaganda they're putting out. They can't just change their tune straight away. And are they doing that because Larry Fink's coming out with the BlackRock ETF, and BlackRock owns huge stakes in Bitcoin mining? What's their agenda with that? What are your thoughts? I haven't been able to piece it together yet, but something crazy is happening, and we'll dive into a little bit more. I found this whole video fascinating. I've listened to it 3 times this morning. I thought you'd appreciate it. Let us know if you don't want to hear this stuff going forward.
Vaccine passports and mask mandates, despite these policies assaulting many of our basic liberties. The Forum believes that your freedoms should be minimised to prevent the imminent climate catastrophe, the one that's coming for 10 years in the last 50 years, by the way. The central theme of the World Economic Forum's material is what they call the Great Reset, which is Klaus Schwab's term for the...
Klaus Schwab's book, The Great Reset, it's a must-read. It's a very scary read, but it's a must-read for everyone there, alongside... I'm going to give, he always tells me, he's like, stop bringing up the book. Anyway, Bitcoin evangelism, read The Great Reset, and then reset your mind with Bitcoin evangelism. There's a good idea. How crazy is all this? In Australian Parliament, a senator speaking facts, spitting truth.
The opportunity the pandemic has presented to reimagine and reinvent the economic policies of the West. The term comes from Schwab directly himself with his 2020 book entitled The Great Reset. In a now deleted video titled 8 Predictions for the World in 2030, the World Economic Forum claimed that you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, a slogan that hits the same dystopian note as work makes you free and ignorance is strength. You don't have to be a political philosopher to figure out that if you own nothing, the state owns everything. There's a word for this. It's called communism. The World Economic Forum and its affiliates shamelessly promote the abolition of private property, a central facet of Karl Marx's demented utopian ideology which led to the deaths of tens of millions of people worldwide in the 20th century. No matter how sophisticated the World Economic Forum tries to make the abolition of private property around the world sound, the fantasies of Karl Marx always lead to the crushing.
We've got about 30 seconds left, and we'll jump into the comments. So if you've got any comments in regards to this, in regards to us smashing $38,000, drop them below. We'll have a little bit of a banter.
Of individuals' liberties and lives and the expansion of the state's tyranny and power. It is imperative that we pay close attention to the World Economic Forum and do all that we can to preserve liberty and reduce government intrusion in our lives. And if we fail to do so, the anti-democratic forces in the West will continue to march on. And we may wake up to an Australia that we no longer recognise. Australians deserve to know the extent to which the World Economic Forum's influence and infiltration of our country and how far it has gone, and we're going to find out.
Absolutely fascinating. Alex Antic, Senator Alex Antic, I pay my respects to you, my man, for saying that. It's not just Australia, it's everywhere around the world. The WEF is penetrating everyone and everything. Did you see that tweet? I'm sorry I didn't repost it. Bill Gates is the biggest advocate in regards to ESG, eating the bugs, farmland, soy, changing agendas, genders, blah, blah, blah. Yes, little bit tinfoil hat, but have you seen that post where they talk about his boat, his mansion, how much energy this single man uses to be able to live his life? Crazy. We'll jump into the comments, and I just want to read a couple of things in regards to the persistent Bitcoin criticisms as well. 100 people watching live. If you haven't hit the like button, please do us a favor. Mr. Android, g'day. Pete, yo. Cyberdude, g'day, mate. Michael, g'day from Canada. Hey, I cannot wait to go to Canada, go snowboarding. Haven Peck, F, yeah, it is 07. Can you extrapolate on 07 for us, please, Haven Pack? But I love the F, yeah. Cherry, hello. Michael, Samson Mao has some interesting thoughts on what will happen post ETF launch. Samson Mao will be coming on the channel for a podcast. I'm dropping that receipt here. I've dropped it a couple of times this week. Cannot wait to have him on. Samson just does not know it yet, but I look forward to that conversation. So tag me on Twitter at SeanClark911 if you've got any. Ronald, g'day. Russell, yo. Neil, Patton. Neil Patton. My apologies. G'day, brother. Good morning. Now, Brandon, g'day, bros. The WEF is an organisation designed to create a monopoly by way of diversity. It's brilliantly evil. That makes me sick, says Michael. Ash has got a love heart. Hopefully not for the WEF, Ash. I'm just playing. Michael, I'm Canadian. I'm embarrassed. It's everywhere around the world, brother. And this is why we're here in Bitcoin, to be able to wake up, to be able to realize that they want everyone to be sheeple, to be able to stay asleep at the wheel, own nothing, be happy, eat the bugs, read the books, and then you don't need to eat the bugs. That would be my, not advice, it's just what I do. I love reading, and people consolidate a whole lifetime of learning into a book that can be that thick, books that can be that thick. And Ryan's Atlas Shrugged, that's an amazing book. Anyway, I'll keep going, and then I want to jump into Fidelity. G'day, Sean, Rob G in the house, Brendan, I'm not going to say WEF is basically a training school. I won't put that into the video. Live chat, you can read that comment there. Tantrum, g'day, Sean. He's penetrated us all right. We feel it here, therefore I'm thrilled. I just got to my first 1.11 Bitcoin in Canada. Now it's time to go out on a boat. Please, brother, store it on steel, your seed phrase. Titanium's better, Seedles, the Rolls Royce, whatever it is, please don't store it on paper. Whatever you do, look after it. Be very, very careful. You've become the new financial elite. You've made it to 1 Bitcoin. Well done. Congratulations. And probably no longer let anyone know how much you have. So maybe go boating this weekend, and they sink pretty quickly. Michael, cheers, brother. Gates and Rocket Foundation are looking to roll out digital IDs to 50 countries by 2028. It's sick, isn't it? WEF is Satanism, data, not data. Rob G, when the US turns on the printer again and prints till your face melts and the ETF is approved and value moves to Bitcoin, I think the Democrats will try and blame Bitcoin for the world's crisis. Let them blame us. Let them blame us. And they probably will. Because what is the problem is actually the solution. And we're here, we know it. And what we see with this hand here, this green, only 3.42%. We're going to get $10,000, $20,000 days. I'm happy for us to be the problem. Can you talk about the Bitcoin price multiplier? Absolutely, I can. We'll jump into that in a further video. That's absolutely fantastic idea. We will do. Jedi James, may the force be with you, brother. Just subscribe, nice info. Cheers, mate. What's your thoughts on non-KYC versus KYC Bitcoin? Mr. Android, just finished interviewing the Bitcoin Way, Tony, and really dive straight into that. This gentleman's a professional. I think you should have both if you can do it legally, of course. That's my opinion, but we really dive deep into it. I'd save my comments for that video because it's quite a lot to unpack. Like the general, Rob has a good point. It might actually work, but they are incompetent as evidenced by their inability to use the climate change argument effectively. They've been trying for 50 years and it ain't happening. And all these elites that put out this, I'm not swearing, this BS about global warming and stuff, they all own beachfront properties. I'm not giving up my sea view. We're 600 meters away from the view, from the beach. We're a little bit higher. But nobody's worried, and I ain't giving it up. So neither are they. I wouldn't buy into it. It is what it is. Make the most of it. The world's beautiful. We go through periods of heating, of cooling. Even the coral, when the ocean gets too hot, it'll just move down south a little bit cooler. Buy Bitcoin but convert back to fiat. Peer-to-peer is the only future. Buy Bitcoin but convert back to fiat. I'm not sure on that. Oh, I'm glad you corrected GW. Buy Bitcoin but never convert back to fiat. I love it. 1 Bitcoin equals ticket to the hungry. Brendan, Hunger Games will be targeted. Great channel. Get Foss on the show. I have had Foss on the channel there. Absolutely epic interview. It's the best video that I've ever had view-wise, and it's intense. There's a lot of swearing, and if you've watched Foss before, he is intense. Absolutely intense. So watch that video. I need to get Foss back on because Foss is the GOAT. Whales will be hunted. Don't forget the 1 second it takes to tap that like button, folks. Thanks, Dan. What's happening in Copa versus CSW? Tag me on Twitter if you can at SeanClark911 with that, and I'll dive into it and have a look. It's BS prep now. Now, I just want to cover a couple of things in regards to the Fidelity digital assets. I don't have it up on screen, so I'm going to read it straight off the paper. I'm not going to read everything. So like say here it says criticism 1, and then it goes through like 1, 2. Yeah. So it goes through that and then that just for 1 criticism. I'm just going to read the first line. Anyway, criticism. Bitcoin is too volatile to be a store of value. Bitcoin's volatility is a trade-off for perfect supply, inelasticity, and an intervention-free market. However, with greater adoption of Bitcoin and Bitcoin-related derivatives and investment products, Bitcoin's volatility will continue to grease its history, as shown. So stack sats and chill. Criticism number 2, Bitcoin has failed as a means of payment. Bitcoin makes deliberate trade-offs such as limited and expensive capacity to offer core properties such as decentralization and immutability. Given Bitcoin's high settlement guarantees, the most valuable use of its limited capacity is for settling high-value transactions that are not well served by traditional rails. This is coming out by Fidelity, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely amazing report. It's called Revisiting Persistent Bitcoin Criticism. Criticism number 3, Bitcoin is wasteful and all bad for the environment. Most Bitcoin mining is powered by renewable energy or energy that would otherwise be wasted. Additionally, the energy the Bitcoin network does consume is arguably a valid, important use of resources, arguably the most important use of energy. And for the world to thrive and survive, we need more energy. In the long game, there may be no greater, more important use of energy than that which is deployed to secure the integrity of a monetary network, and constructively, in this case, the Bitcoin network. That's a quote by Parker Lewis. I'd love to have Parker Lewis on the show. Criticism number 4, Bitcoin will be replaced by a competitor. Many digital assets have emerged that claim to improve upon Bitcoin. However, they're all garbage. It doesn't say that. It says, however, none have been able to achieve Bitcoin network effects to date. Did you see Charles Hoskin going off? And then Adam Back's reply. You have to watch that. I'm sure I reposted that on Twitter. That was hilarious. So in regards to being replaced by a competitor, while competitors have attempted to improve upon Bitcoin's limitation, it has come at the cost of the core properties that make Bitcoin valuable. Example, perfect scarcity, decentralization, immutability, which explains why Bitcoin continues to dominate in terms of market cap, investors, users, miners, and validators, as well as retail and institutional infrastructure products and service providers. This is the last one I'm going to read today. There is 4 more after this. Criticism number 5. I think this is pretty important. Bitcoin is not backed by anything. It's backed by us. Anyway, Bitcoin is not backed by cash flows and industrial utility. It will be with AI 100% or decree. Bitcoin is backed by code, brought to life by its stakeholder social contract. Absolutely fascinating I really do urge everyone to read that whole article. Take a screenshot, download it. Fidelity Digital Assets there. And there's people shilling poo coins in the chat. Don't listen. It's Bitcoin only, ladies and gentlemen. And let's jump into the final comments here. One more time, hit subscribe. If we vibe, hit the like button. Foss's intense indeed matches his high-pitched voice. I'll just show you the video. I'll bring it up here on YouTube. If I go to my account here, and just give me a sec. I'll bring up just the first few seconds of it because he is full on. Let me go full screen. 2 secs. So this is the Foss video. Just type in "G'day Bitcoin," Foss, BlackRock ETF attack on Bitcoin. I'll just play the first couple of seconds.
Potential problems with the BlackRock ETF? That's easy to trade $1 billion treasuries. We're leaving a debt burden to our children that's impossible for them to ever pay back. Have fun being a slave to the fiat Ponzi. Because if you measure Bitcoin in a debasing fiat currency, it's going higher. Bitcoin is 100% limited. Mathematics will prove that fiat...
It's just full of alpha. Obviously, Foss is absolutely incredible. I'd urge everyone to check that video out. And don't buy any shitcoins out there. Anyone shilling in the chat, piss off. Or just focus on Bitcoin. It's all good. If you want to gamble, I take it back. It's your money, it's your choice. But it's Bitcoin only, ladies and gentlemen. It's the only one of value. Anyway, legends in the chat. Yes, we got a maxi, 100%. I've been stacking. I'm now stacking for both my daughters to set them up going forward. It is only math, ladies and gentlemen. Absolute pleasure. Be blessed. Peace. 38K, baby. We made it. Let's hold here. We're going to the moon.